right. Peace to everyone. Peace, love, and jazz. Oh, what a wonderful day to be a jazz lover. You know our station ID. You are watching the Preservation of Jazz live streaming on WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. We're streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter and other top social media platforms. Like, follow, share, comment, and subscribe. Well, let me tell you, we have a lot to cover today. And today I don't have my notes. So I'm improving, which I love to do because that's the best thing about jazz is the improvisational part of the program. So again, thank you for watching WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. So let's get to it. Let's get into some jazz together. Well, we were discussing a friend of mine and I were discussing classical music as it relates to jazz. So you remember some time ago we were uh, discussing Tom Wiggins. You remember him? And we're going to go back to him because I'm very much believing that classical music is also a derivative of jazz music. That jazz has incubated a large portion of what we hear today. So I want you to take a little time to listen to Tom Wiggins. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Tom Wiggins before we go into his music. He was a blind man, a savant, and of course, very, very highly sensitive to sound. So let's hear some of it. Now, my reference today is, and usually a lot, I love YouTube. And I love most of the platforms. I love the platforms that have WJZZ Cool TV on it. Let's just get that all together. And so I'm all for our social media platforms, and I thank the universe. I thank God for these platforms because I've become almost 75% an intellect just based on social media alone. Just all of the information that has been shared through the years. I'm a book buff, but social media has been very kind to me because I tend not to abuse it. I had to learn to understand social media. And one thing that I've understood that if you are, especially like myself, into a genre that you are and just have decided to um, recognize, give tributes to, then the acro was it acrorhythms, um, you get all of this the thrust of information that always seems to come on my timelines, whether it be TikTok or Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, especially YouTube. So I'm going to go to this gentleman here, and just so you can hear, this is a ABC Radio National. But yes, so a lot of the RN, ABC.net, Radio National into the music is something that we support because it always highlights jazz. You know, we are a live streaming company. We are radio, WJZZ Jazz Radio. the thing is too, we all collectively, um, collectively, we're supposed to kind of share the information. So I'm super excited about. All right. So blind Tom. All right. So I just want to. Okay. Okay. So that's not what we want to play, but I do want to tell you a little bit about it. So Clarity Williams was his mother. Tom the blind boy pianist is what they called him. Okay. Um, blind Tom Wiggins, I don't like to use that name, was a slave pianist, autistic savant, as we spoke of, and his General James Bethune and his slave prodigy, Tom Wiggins. You know, a lot of times when you see or hear some of the artists that were that became famous is sometimes because they had a slave master that their talent was undeniable. So a lot of times, I don't not condoning slavery at all, but a lot of times, you can't help but to see that there is talent, angelic, a cerebral, something that just even in slavery cannot be ignored. That it's kind of like your destiny to put this out, and in some cases, in most cases, they would exploit it, but there were a chosen few that really was so inspired by some of these amazing artists that just so happened to be thrust into slavery. You see, before, first of all, my take on slavery, if I have to add, to, for example, kidnap someone. First of all, why is this person you're about to kidnap so important? Like, what do you need from this person that you are about to kidnap? And what do you gain from kidnapping this person? So, how do you come about that? Well, first, you would have to hear about this, the suspect, or the victim, excuse me, the victim. You would have to hear about that. So, in hearing about that, then you make your assessment, okay? And you look at this almost like building a chart. How can I gain from taking from this entity? So I believe that the slave masters held were, it was a thing where you got to hear about this. You got to see about these particular people. You have to, oh my goodness. It wasn't that they just went to a place and just said, I'm just taking everybody. No, this was very strategic because I find that a lot of the slaves have brought so much energy and so much life and so much vitality and so much music and brilliance and mechanics and inventions and all of that have brought so much to the table. And then, for example, a slave that's trying to figure out ways to make his being captive easier for everybody. Because if you like music, like jazz, if you are on stage with a big band, in reference like a slave is to his whole community, then you are warranted. You are uh, you have no other choice than to think for the whole people. So with these inventions that these slaves created was to make life easier for all of them. Now, all of these slaves they were from all different tribes. So they were all mixed up. So now you have, for example, you have gang members that's entrusted in a prison system. Okay, so what do you do? Do you separate? Well, in prison, you do separate, but we're talking about a certain type of prison. So, do you come together and say, look, all of us got to get along. We got to make this thing work. We have to survive until the end. We have to endure. So, saying that, getting back to my point, that the music that has been brought to the forefront, wow, the music that has been brought to the forefront a major is a major voice. They had known that there was an amazement. There was an amazement in the music that they performed and the inventions that they sought out and the way they organized their community. The slave owner had saw something and plotted out all of these things. They had watched. They watched. They had to see. Like, look, they dance, they move, they build, they grow, they nurture, they pray, and that's when the captivity happened. Uh, you know, and that's where we sympathize with Tom Wiggins, because Tom Wiggins, of course, he was a young man. In fact, this was a early 1800s. So I'm thinking 1840, 1840, 1850, where he was born. But I remember this the great musical mystery. That's what they called him. And his slave owner captured him and saw the thing that he could do, and his slave owner was pretty much his manager. But it just goes to show, excuse me, that they saw something in us way before, way before that, way before our ancestors were captured. Hence, this is where the music comes from. Hence, this is where I believe jazz and classical music submerged, because in the 1800s, a lot of our ancestors had outside of the blues, they had a very efficient sound. It was very pure and melodic, and it didn't have a sting of pain at all. In fact, it was very light and lovely, and it was very prayerful. It was giving homage to their God, and it was a very beautiful thing. It was only in the when slavery really became prevalent. Not even in the beginning, but midway through is when we had the songs of despair and melancholy, and that of just sheer um, purgatory, and it was only then when the music changed. But there was a moment, and I do believe, and I haven't done my homework, because this is based on my own opinion. I do believe that the symphony and the classical music does definitely come from jazz. So I'm very excited about playing a song. Let's see here. I'm getting a lot of okay. This is Rainstorm. They used to just yeah, we have to get something. Okay, it's like I'm at you're at my house now and I'm trying to find something that I can't find. I want to play a song of his. And I want him. Yeah. Well, okay, here we go. Again, someone else is playing. Okay, here we go. Someone else is playing him. Okay. Everybody's playing him. Let's see here. Let's see. Yeah, everybody's playing him. So I guess what I'm experiencing, I want you to hear him. And I also would say we have homework because we're all learning together that we should yeah, beautiful. And you can hear the you can hear the jazz in it and in the piano. You can hear it, actually hear it. This tune is called The Rainstorm. They actually called ooh, this is the yeah, the crescendo. You can hear the crescendo. You can hear the all the things that comes from jazz as well. You can hear the depth. You can hear the despair. You can hear that thunder and the passion. This is not a this this music is not a music that was from the elite. That you're hearing some thunder. You're hearing some bottom. So there you have it. So I would just say go to Blind Tom. I don't like that because we should never describe somebody on their bodily image. Okay, so I just want to say you are watching the Preservation of Jazz Hour live, streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, and other top social media platforms. Like, follow, share, comment, and subscribe. And thank you for watching WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. We do have special guests coming in today, David Alvarez III. He's a young, beautiful young gentleman. that I'm so grateful and so proud to know. And he's going to be calling in, and I'm excited about it. So, David Everez, if you are listening, I'm super excited about you coming in and hanging out with us. Okay, and okay, so yeah, so we're super excited about that. So let's get back into it. So Tom Wiggins, yeah, I don't want to describe people as that. I don't want to do that. So I always feel uncomfortable by saying, oh, the dark skinned girl, or the white girl, or the big girl, or the small girl, or the, but we are our fruits. But now, but what I will do is the nice lady, the one with the pure heart, the mean one, the feisty one. I am guilty of that. But body parts and skin color, I really don't really like to do that. But that's what they did to Tom Wiggins. He was always the blind guy, the savant. So which posed the question: the savant, the blind guy, okay, and the slave. Whew, that's a tough one because that's tough and that's sad for someone that has to give so much through his music to be narrowed down in such a way. Blind, slave, savant. Which to me, I don't mind being called a savant. Now that's something that is a privilege. But I believe that we're all savants. It's just that we have a gene in us that makes us the same. It's something that makes us the same. And then the blessed ones get to stand out. And so a lot of times, like superheroes, which I believe that we are, that we have to look at music that way as well. That music is a superpower. So you can't, well, and some do, jazz music should be categorized by its depth. Music should be categorized by its depth. Is shallow music? Ooh, that's interesting. I don't know. I'm learning as I go because, well, no. All right. I'm talking to my friend in my head because there is shallow music, and everyone can agree there's shallow music out here. But then there's a depth of music. And that's why I think I've fallen in love with jazz because jazz is like sitting greasing your grandmother's scalp while she tell you stories. But as my spirit reveals that uh, rap music can be the same thing. So I don't know. I don't know. I think I may have to pray about that one because music is a sign of where we are spiritually. And if anyone knows about spirit, spirit travels through these different sectors of music. I was never into hip hop, but I was definitely a hip hop artist. I didn't listen to a lot of hip hop, but I went through my hip hop stage. Went through my symphony stage. I went through my, and because of the body is made up of so many different parts and stages, that maybe music is like your finger, your toe, your leg, your arm, your elbow, your, maybe that is what music is. Different facets of what, like your feet. Your feet is like the whole anatomy of who you are. So, I got a lot to learn. So, can we learn together? Let's learn together. So, at 6:32, you're watching the Preservation of Jazz Hour with your hostess. So humble and so grateful to be your hostess, and just have this wonderful place to share and learn together. So this is the Preservation of Jazz Hour. And what this is just us learning together. I'm not professing to know anything, but I want to learn it all. And I want you to learn with me. So if you have something that you can teach us, just call in. Usually we do the call in at about 6:15, right after our station ID. Then we have a moment where people can call in and teach. This Preservation of Jazz Hour is uh, forming itself. But the main thing that we need to learn about it. We need to learn about jazz because jazz made a lot of things happen for us. It was the bridge between I mean through segregation and freedom and politics and spirituality and church and marriage and the speakeasies. It I tell you, jazz can put on a suit or lipstick. And I'm not trying to make jazz bisexual or anything like that because jazz can't perform sex. So we're not trying to do that. But what I'm saying is the segue. I love the middleman, and that's maybe why. Wow, that's maybe why I love jazz so much because I love being the middle guy. I love for you to call me and say, Sky, I need a connection, and I love to be that connection. So we learned something today, and it's 6:34, and I'm hoping that we can get my friend to call in at any moment. But our homework is Blind Tom Wiggins. Look him up and let's talk next week. Yes. So I'm just so and again, did you know about the jazz festival this year? The jazz festival will be virtual. Um Now I'm a little still angry with him. I am. I'm not gonna lie. Noah Jackson, I'm angry with you because that king showed his butt, but he did apologize and we did squash whatever was happening. But I do want you all to still support my brother. I'm not going to change that on Wednesday nights at Cliff Bell's. You can go and have some food and hang out after you hear the show. But I tell you one thing. Let me tell you this. You can't be judgmental and you don't know who's who. So we have to be kind to everyone. I get into situations in recent times. I don't know it maybe because of my popularity, which I'm just Nicole at the end of the day. But I work very hard. The Sky Covington part of me works very hard to entertain you. So I guess I changed my hair and I entered a room and now this I won't share where this happened at. I entered a room and I all of a sudden hear, no, no, she's not going to perform. No, 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 no. I'm like, okay, so I guess I'm not going to perform at an open mic or open jam, I might add. Only to be confronted by the host who tells me that how they have changed everything and how everything has changed. And I'm thinking, and not ego, but I'm thinking in any jazz club, a person that wins at the Detroit Music Awards, jazz, traditional jazz artists, CD and traditional, and jazz artists, they should be able to go to any jazz club and be treated with a level of respect. I don't even want a black card, just a level of respect, because that means it doesn't mean anything to me. It doesn't make me or break me. I'm still William Freeman's wife. But then are we all connected? So enough about that. I just I bring that up because I want Noah Jackson to know that I love you, brother, and I am so proud of you, and I love your music and your style. And I'm not into astrology anymore, which I was, but he is a Leo. And according to that whole thing, he is a fire starter. Because didn't hear from me. But in that instance, that happened to me, and then just meeting him and everything, I think that my message right now, and as you can tell, I might be a little hurt by it. It hurts artists to it hurts not even artists, Detroiters, when we don't treat each other with love. So I could be anything. I could be a garbage man, garbage woman, a mail lady, a bartender, a singer, whatever the case. Okay. All right. This is totally my fault. Sometimes you just have to just take a yeah. So I'm learning. So and as it relates, always as it relates to the preservation of jazz, that I'm taking on a whole nother personal thing with the preservation of jazz. I just want the pecking order to still exist. That if you are your years in jazz, I don't care if you immediately won a Grammy. Like say you was only there for like 2 years and then you win a Grammy. That's great and that's beautiful. And I hope to do that one day. But there is still a pecking order of respect that we owe people that has been spilling their heart and soul on stage for 20 and 30 years, because jazz is not just getting the award. What jazz is where we take people, and the church, or the feeling of love, and the feeling of sharing a depth, emotion. That's what jazz is. That every jazz artist has given you an emotion that you can always return to when you want to. Tonight I'm feeling John Coltrane. I'm in a John Coltrane, Love Supreme type of mood. Oh, but then there's other times where I'm in a Mississippi goddamn type of mood. Or I'm in a, you know what? I'm in a Abby Lincoln, throw it away type of mood. You know? And I get it. I know what you're saying. I can hear you speaking it now. Yeah, but I may be in, yeah, but this is the preservation of jazz hour. And that's what makes the difference. I understand what you're saying for my youth that's tuning in. I get it because we are in different moods. But I'm good at I'm good at the jazz portion, so that's why I only speak of that. And I appreciate that you feel that way. So what's happening is David Alvarez is still going to call in, and even if we get to talk to him, all right. I'm not sure. Right. I'm not sure. Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to, you know what I'm going to do? Because it's always a beautiful thing to do this. We're going to call him. So, here we are. Here we are. Just understanding that, you know, it's an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing to know that the preservation of jazz is the preservation of our history and yeah, I'm not sure. There we go. Hello there, Mr. Alvarez.
Hi, Sky. Did you get my text message?
No, it doesn't matter. We're right here together.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and you know what? We can still talk here. We have a little time, ladies and gentlemen. I was so impressed with, ladies and gentlemen, Detroit and all over the world. I was so impressed with Mr. Alvarez, the third, some time ago, before COVID. We were doing a few gigs, and I was so impressed with, first of all, how you listen, your etiquette, and your beauty, and your skill. So, ladies and gentlemen, David Alvarez the third. Hi.
Hi. Thank you for having me, Sky.
Thank you for having me. So tell us, like, can you talk to us about you for a little bit?
Sure. Yeah. So, I'm a jazz drummer, and I'm based in the city of Detroit. I actually live in the community called Woodbridge, and I've studied jazz music at the University of Michigan. Graduated in 2017, and I was also pursuing music education. So I have an education background, and um, ever since graduating from 2017, I just kind of hit the ground running
Yeah.
with performing, and I've been fortunate enough to blessed actually to be able to perform with the great Benny Green
Oh
and
yes.
his trio. Right as I got out of school, actually I was planning on um, applying for my master's, and but the timing somehow just it was just right. Right as soon as I graduated, I was offered to perform with Benny, and he was my teacher at the University of Michigan. He was teaching at the time there, and he wanted me to he wanted to take me under his wing to perform with him. So that was a huge stepping stone into just performing at the highest level possible for me. And ever since then, um, I've just been grateful to work with people here, even in Michigan, in the city of Detroit, especially. There's so much incredible music and incredible musicians that are making just wonderful music, and I've been fortunate to work with a lot of the greats that I feel that I look up to a lot. And so, yeah, so that's just a little bit about me. And yeah, happy to be here. And it's been great to work with Sky. I've worked with her a few times. And playing with a vocalist, it's definitely, um, you have to have your ears wide open
Mm-hmm.
as a drummer. And So anytime I get to perform with incredible vocalists such as Sky, I need to have my ears ready, because um, she might make some arrangements on the fly, or she might need for me to do something
Yeah.
that requires me to just to react in an organic way, to fit the music. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's a little bit about me and what I do.
Yeah. And so you in precision, the way you answered the question is just, um, we are so grateful for you. And I tell you, so Ibrahim, he spoke very highly of you. And one thing, yes, very very highly, because Ibrahim is a stickler about his drummer.
Right, right.
And he's been my music director for years, and I trust him. And I remember doing a show, and your father was there. Can you tell
Hmm.
us a little bit about your father and how he supports you?
Sure, absolutely. I would say, arguably, he is my number one fan. He's told me that, and I honestly would not be the musician, the man that I am,
Mm-hmm.
without him just being so supportive and guiding me through everything, through life, just raising me up. And my dad, a lot of my musicality, I think, runs from his genetics, because he was also studying music when he was in college
Oh,
back in the
okay.
Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
He was a composition major, and he was doing a lot of great things, a lot of accomplished musical projects that he was a part of, and was a part of the gigging life a little bit. But what's interesting, his life kind of changed,
Okay.
and he, at the age, I think, of maybe 25 or so, he dedicated his life to Jesus Christ, and he became a Christ follower. And from then on, um, he wanted music to um, he wanted his life to be about serving God, and
Okay.
through the music. And so, he, I think, instilled that in me.
Yes.
Growing up, my dad actually, my dad, he became eventually a pastor.
Oh,
So I'm a pastor's kid,
that's
PK.
beautiful. That's beautiful. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, and so when we came here to Michigan in 2001, he was actually coming here because he got offered a position to be a music director for a church
Okay.
out in Detroit called Evangel Ministries, and he was doing that for about 5 years. And but then another shift came in his life, and he felt led to start his own church. And so we have a small church called My Father's House Church, and we're based in Taylor. And my dad, he's just been all about. He's I look up to him so much, and I love him so much. He's kind of like one of my best friends, and that the life that he models, whether he's playing music or um, helping people, that's what I want to be. And so um, he's just his character and who he is. I want to be like him when I'm doing my own thing, doing the music thing. Um, and so I owe a lot to him, just not only helping, uh, dropping me off to music rehearsals when I was a young kid.
Mm-hmm.
He would do that, and just being there to come to my shows and my gigs whenever he can.
Yeah.
But also on just from a personal, character perspective, I wouldn't be the man I am today if it wasn't for him instilling me just good values, and how to treat people and how to love people in everything we do. So yeah,
That's
I love my dad.
beautiful. That's beautiful. Oh, to our fathers. When I met your father, I did get a very centered man. I did get that vibe from him, and I can tell that you have God in you. So bravo to your father. Can you tell us a bit about your mother?
Sure. Yeah. My mom, she is also just another huge support. Um, my mom, she was actually also, she's musically inclined, but
Uh huh.
she didn't take music, um, professionally.
Okay.
It's funny, actually, the way that she met my father was they were both in music school in the Philippines,
Oh,
and she
okay.
was she was studying classical piano, and my dad was composition major, and they met when they were 18 or so. But she wasn't really, her heart really wasn't into it. She, eventually she wanted to pursue something else, but
Okay.
um, music was in, into the university that she wanted to be in. So, but yeah, I mean, my my dad is, that's the other half, but I think
The
that's
study.
one half, and then the other half, of course, is my mom, who just she encourages me a lot. What I love about her, she's kind of like the jokester in the family.
Yeah,
So um,
she gives you a little sense of humor.
yeah, absolutely. Like, just anything, like, she'll be one of those people that can cheer me up, and she'll just tell a joke here and there, and it's just she's just always kind of playful like that, and that's what I love about her. And um, just seeing her, being strong in her faith as well, believing in God, um, that is also inspiring to me.
It sure is expiring.
So to have two parents that are supportive of not only what I do musically, but they're supportive of me, and helping me grow in my faith. That's just it's a blessing to
It's
have.
so
And so
important. So
yeah, definitely.
where can we find you in these days ahead? For summer is ending, fall is beginning. Where are you? Where are you these days?
Yeah, well, thankfully, work live performances are happening again, and
Okay.
thankfully, the phone has been ringing to do a lot of performances. So um, I'm actually, I play a lot in the cities of Detroit and Ann Arbor, and recently I've been going to Grand Rapids. They have a new venue there called GR Noir.
All right.
Um, but the this actually tomorrow and Friday I will be playing in Ann Arbor.
Ann Arbor.
Um, yeah, yep, with my good friend Meg Brennan, her quartet. I'm playing at this festival called the Third Place Music
The
Fest.
Third Place Music Festival. Ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah.
you have to check out David Alvarez. David, we have to come back and we have to bring you back on. What's your social media?
Sure. Yeah. So I have a website that people can check out.
And what
It's
is it?
D3
D three
D3music.com, and it's spelled
D3music.com. DTH
DTHREE,
REE
and then the word music, and then
music
dot
com.
com.
Ladies and
Um,
gentlemen, thank you for coming to the Preservation of Jazz Hour. You are listening to the Preservation of Jazz Hour and our special guest, David Alvarez III. Unfortunately, well, it's not unfortunately, we got him on, but we're going to come back and we're going to bring David back on, and he's going to come on the top of the hour. David, we love you and we appreciate you, and we celebrate you and your drummer and your drummingship. It's the
uh, Thank you, Sky. Yeah, sorry again for the
no,
little
no
delay. I
worries. Never
apologize.
have to apologize. You are the star. We love you.
Thank you so much, Sky.
Thank you. Good night,
Thank you.
David.
Good night. Bye bye.
Bye bye.